Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Boothe podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, what they've learned, and what's next for them. In my first season of this web series, I'm always getting that wrong, podcast, I'm interviewing Black
Same time.
female writers, directors who I feel like are doing big things, but just aren't really talked about enough. And today's guest is Laurie. I've known Laurie for how long have we known each other for now?
Couple years,
I think
or maybe
so,
a
yeah.
year.
Because, yeah, well, anyway, Laurie is a writer, director, producer of a web series I'm a big fan of. It's called How We Met. And you've got other projects coming soon, I'm assuming, but we'll talk about that later. And so, yeah, welcome to the show, Laurie.
Thank you, Kashi.
Thanks for coming on. So tell us about you. Like, how did you get started? What made you want to, be a writer, director, and stuff like that?
um, so yeah, I think we have to go way back because yeah, I've always been interested in writing. I've always loved storytelling. Since I was younger, I used to write stories just like for fun. um, I remember writing like a play that I had like a few of my friends kind of act out during like a sleepover, and then we performed it for our parents one evening. Um, and yeah, and then when it came to video production, I was always fascinated by it because my dad, he used to film weddings and things like that, and I would get really excited when I got to play on his camera. So I think I've always had a love for filmmaking, writing, and it just kind of, yeah, just different at different times of my life I was able to do things um that just sparks that interest. And as a teenager, I used to play a game called The Sims. Have you ever heard of The Sims?
Oh yeah, 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 The Sims. Yeah, yeah, I remember The
Yes.
Sims.
And at the time they had like this community where people just like create stories with the games. um and so that was the whole kind of community, and I used to just create stories of that, just for fun. And that's where I got my love of editing, video editing. um and so when I went to college, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do editing. And then from there, university, I studied media production. And after uni, I decided I wanted to be like a film editor. And so after uni, I went and did an internship at a like Christian TV channel, and I left there still wanting to be a film editor, but I didn't know what area I wanted to go into. I didn't know if I wanted to work for a company or work for myself. And so while I was trying to figure that out, I just kind of found some work in the meantime. Um, and years went by, and I just started doing like little video production jobs here and there. And so yeah, the video editing never left. I was always like curious about that and wanted to learn more about it. And then I even took a course in like motion graphics, because I thought, okay, maybe I need to explore this a bit more. And at that time, motion graphics was quite key to being a video editor. um, and so yeah, and then eventually it came to me figuring, I don't think like I wanted to work for somebody anymore. Like I would look at job applications and I just didn't have that desire. I would like read the job description and be like, I just don't feel like I want to do this. And so I kind of fell into freelance video editing, and I really enjoyed that. And but I didn't really get to do scripted drama. Um, and so I kind of reached out to a few people because at that time I was watching a lot of web series, on YouTube. And so I reached out to a few people, about editing their series. Didn't really hear back from anyone. And I just decided to just do my own. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my own, like, because I had the experience. I had done a lot of productions in the past. I had studied it, and so I kind of knew how to put one together. Especially watching them, I was like, you know what, I can do this too. And I wasn't seeing. There was some stuff that I wanted to see that I wasn't necessarily seeing as well. So I thought, you know what, let me do this, and then I'll get to do my editing, and showcase what I'm able to do as an editor. So yeah, and so through doing my series, I then fell in love again with writing. Sorry, and and producing. I never even thought about being a producer. That never entered my mind, but I loved it so much when it came to doing the series, because I'm a very, like, I love organization, I love like planning, I love things going in a, going well and smooth and whatever. So I fell in love with producing, and yeah, and that's kind of how I got to where I am now in a nutshell.
No, that's
So
great. That's
basically,
good. I love hearing everyone's journey to get to where they
yeah,
are. So yeah. So like because your web series is How We Met, and that's what you're best known for, would you say?
yes.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's the yeah,
so
it's the main thing I've done independently. Yeah.
yeah. So what you said that you were looking for web series or trying to find web series which you wanted to watch but couldn't find it. So what inspired you? What made helped you come up with your web series? Because it is a faith-based romantic comedy, and I've not seen anything like that, and that's what set apart yours from the rest as well. So how did you come up with that? What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, at the time I saw a lot of web series that were good. I enjoyed them, but I felt like I wasn't seeing like my friends. I wasn't seeing like people that I interact with on a daily basis and people that I cross paths with. Um, Not saying that the people that I was seeing don't exist, but there's other types of people as well that I felt that, stories needs to be told as well. And so that element kind of interested me. And to be honest, because my initial idea for the series was because I wanted to edit it, I was just thinking, okay, what can I write about? And initially, I got the idea from the series from a song. I can't remember what song it was, but I remember hearing the song and thinking, oh my gosh, that song is so corny. And then immediately I said to myself, see, that's why you're still single. And so I kind of thought it would be nice to kind of do a series around um, looking at why these reasons that this woman is single. And it kind of just came from there. And then along with wanting to see what I wasn't seeing, I wanted to add that into that element. And the series just kind of really evolved over a few years, because I think it took about 2 to 3 years for the script to develop, but I wasn't writing it for those 3 years. I would start it like one day and then leave it for several months, and then start it another day and then leave it for like a year. Mm-hmm. So it didn't take long to create, but I think that that period of the 3 years, my experiences and things that were happening in my life kind of shaped the script. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of went from this song idea to wanting to see what I wasn't seeing, to adding elements of experiences that I had gone through with my dating life, and then I had fallen in love, and so all of that shaped this story, which then ended up being kind of showing the two perspectives of these two people that eventually meet. So that's kind of how it came to be.
I mean, that's great. I mean, as I said, I'm a fan of your web series. I've been waiting for season 2 for like, I don't know, 3 years. I need to know what happens next in the part of the How We Met story. If you guys haven't seen it, it does tell the story of a couple who because it's the lead actress, correct me if I'm wrong, has a YouTube channel, and her and her partner are sharing their story to her subscribers about how they met. So we've literally only got they haven't even got to the part of how they met yet. So yeah, so we're trying to get that. We've seen the bits where they've crossed paths and may not have known each other. It's kind of covering their previous dating experiences, what leads up to this. So Laurie, I need you to hurry up for part 2. Yeah. And I've always said to you, I've always been a huge fan of the soundtrack. How did that come apart? Because was it for people you knew, or did you seek out musicians? How did that come together as well?
Yeah, I mean, I studied music at university as well, so music is a big part of film for me. I always feel like music is such an important part, and so when it came to finding the music, I had a specific vibe that I wanted, and so my husband was the main one that found the music, and I told him, I kind of want this kind of alternative R&B, kind of soul, and he loves soul and like neo soul and jazz and all that stuff. So we had a kind of similar style that we wanted. So yeah, he kind of just seeked out different artists that he really liked the sound of, shared it to me, and I was like, yes, this is amazing. And then yeah, most of them were really happy to be a part of the project. So we only knew, I think, one of them was actually an actor in the series. The other artist was his brother. um and then the others we just found like through SoundCloud, just reached out to them, and yeah, they were really up for being, a part of the project. So that's how it happened.
That's great. I mean, I think as independent filmmakers, I think it's good for other people, the listeners, to really hear that, that's one way you can get music for your show or your short film. It's so hard to, you want to have the perfect sound or music for your show, but it's really difficult because you may not have the budget. So that's one way you can do it. So
Yeah, and a lot of these artists are a lot of these artists are sometimes starting out as well. So, it's a way that they can get their music out there, as well. So you kind of just collaborating together.
I agree. I agree. So, who's some of your inspirations? Like, as a filmmaker, who do you look up to, or some of your work, their work, you're a fan of?
Um, yes, a few people. I think initially when it came to creating a web series, I was really inspired by Issa Rae. I used to watch her series called Awkward Black Girl. Um, and also there's a channel called Black and Sexy TV.
Oh, yeah, I'm
They were
fans of
really,
both of those, so I know.
yeah,
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
they were really inspirational to me. Just seeing them just creating their own lanes, not waiting for other people. Um, so that, yeah, they stood out to me initially. Um, and yeah, and I think from there, it's just there's been so many talented people around, but I think those two initially were the main ones that inspired me. And then outside of web series, um, yeah, I love, Shonda Rhimes. Um, Tyler Perry is a big inspiration as well. Um, and Devin Franklin as a producer, he's a faith-based producer. I really admire his work as well. So, yeah.
Cool. So, in your journey so far as being an independent filmmaker, what would you say is like the hardest thing you've learned or had to overcome? Like, what's something you've gone through which you've learned from and has shaped the way you're going to do things moving forward?
Um, I think, yeah, when you're an independent filmmaker, you learn not to do too much on your own.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm sure you've experienced the stress, and yeah, it can be a bit too much. And so I think it started affecting my health and things. And so I was like, okay, you need to step back. And I think partly it was because I was kind of trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing catch up to where I thought I needed to be at this point in my life. So I was like over compensating for, the lack of what I hadn't done in my past, years. So I've learned that I don't have to compare myself to other people. I just need to be happy with where I'm at, because what I'm doing is right for the time that I'm doing it in. I wasn't ready back then to do what I'm doing now. And so I've learned to just be content in my journey, where I'm at, and just take my time. I'm not rushing anymore to get to where I think I need to be. Where I'm at is where I need to be. And so I just now just take each day and comparing myself to myself, comparing myself to yesterday. I was like, yes, I've done so much better than I did, yesterday. And so that's, yeah, my biggest learning curve, I think.
No, I think that's really good because in this industry, you sometimes will compare yourself to what somebody else is doing, and you're thinking to yourself, why am I not in the same position? What am I not doing? What's the same and stuff? And I have to constantly remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy. So you just need to focus on your own lane. What's for you is for you. And that's just how it is. Like, other people will have a fast track to success. Other people's is a slow grind. And it's, you
Yeah.
have to get there in your own time. So I completely understand that.
Yeah.
What would you say is like one of your favorite moments so far?
I think just seeing the final product, because I have a problem that I think many people have with not finishing what I start, and so just with the first series, just seeing it complete, I was just like, oh my gosh, like thank God this is just done. It's out there. Like that was a really happy moment and a really proud moment, because the whole process of this series was very much like a domino effect. Like it all just kind of happened on its own. So just to see it kind of be complete, and yeah, that was a nice feeling.
Trust me, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, yeah, please. I've done a lot. So I understand like, yeah, it's just that end result just feels so good. And especially when
Yeah.
people watch it and they enjoy it and they got the jokes or they understood the moments which were supposed to be sad or or had pain or whatever, or they understand the
Yeah.
storyline very well and they react to how you wanted it to be in the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
understand
And when
that.
you hear people say like, oh, that was so relatable,
Mhm.
which is what I wanted. I want to create more stuff that people could relate to. And so that's, yeah, it's, you feel proud,
Exactly.
yeah.
No, I totally get that. So what would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've received in your career as well?
Um, I don't know if it's advice, but my husband, I'm quite laid back, but my husband is more laid back. And so he and my mum are like my biggest supporters, and I'm very thankful to them. And so he, when I used to tell him about, my ideas and things like that, he would just be like, just do it. Like, why don't you just do it? Like, I'll be like, but I need to find actors. He's like, why don't you just look for actors? And I was like, but I need to finish this. And he's like, why don't you just, finish the script? So he would just be like, I don't know, he just had some belief in me that I guess I didn't see quite, yet. And so I think just hearing him just being like, just do it, um, was good advice, I guess you could call it. Yeah, it helped me to stop overthinking everything. So I guess that was.
No, that's good. I sometimes you need that push from somebody else. Like one of my best friends is an amazing writer director, but she had a lot of knockbacks to her confidence because she's a Muslim girl, and so she felt that she was being judged because she would wear hijab, and so she just felt like she wasn't getting anything because they prejudged her as soon as she walked in the room. So she just kind of
Yeah.
stopped doing it. But I pushed her and pushed her to write a film, and then we shot a film, what was it, a couple of years ago now, and it's in the festival market and
Oh
doing pretty well.
wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah, sometimes you just need that push from somebody else because
definitely.
when you alter your view of success, that's, I think, like the biggest thing you do. If you're looking for adoration or just success from the general view of what the industry is, then I just feel like you're going to get lost in it. There's so
Mm,
many ways you can achieve your dreams and stuff. You don't always have to do the mainstream route. You can do it independently and be your own boss and make your own
yeah,
content. So that's
yeah,
what I told her, and yeah, now she's writing and directing and doing a whole heap of stuff. So yeah, sometimes you
yeah,
just need that. So what
for
advice
sure.
would you give to somebody who wants to do what you're doing or wants to create the type of content you've done? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do something small. Just start with um, yeah, just a small idea. It doesn't have to be like even a film or a series. It can just be like a sketch, and just put that out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be bad, but you've done something, and then you learn from that, and then you can move on to something else. Because even when it came to the series, um, I initially was going to do a sketch, and it wasn't going to be shown to anyone. It was just for me because I hadn't created anything creatively for a long time. So I thought I just wanted, get back into that creative mode and see what I can do. And no one knows this,
Ooh,
but
exclusive.
exclusive. But that sketch ended up being the bonus episode of the How We Met series.
Oh, okay. I
So
know what one that is. Okay.
yeah, so I just wanted to, like, literally, wrote the script quickly over like a couple of weeks, and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna create this just to create. It wasn't gonna go anywhere. But yeah, ended up finding actors, and I was like, these actors could actually be a part of this series. And so this sketch also influenced the series because these actors actually ended up being major parts of the series. And so it, it kind of rolled into that. So yeah, something that wasn't even going to be seen by anyone ended up being something else. And yeah, just because it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be amazing, but you just have to do something. And I did that. I put it out there, and it is what it is. And yeah, and so I would say, as a creator as well, you're never going to be 100% happy with what you put out. So it's just about learning from that, and then with the next thing, what you've learned, implement that into the next thing. And so baby steps, really. I feel like I'm a baby I am a baby in this industry, so I'm still learning, and I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to make mistakes and grow from those mistakes and keep building, because that's how you grow. So yeah, that's what I would say.
No, I think that's really good because it's very funny. It's funny you say that you was making a sketch for no one to see. I accidentally created my web series, Nate and Jamie, as well, like complete accident. So
Wow.
the lead guy in it who plays Jamie, I've known him for a long time. So years ago, we were, I can't remember what we were doing, but we was out hanging out or something, and he told me a story about how he saw a girl, well, him and his friends, sorry, were out in Shoreditch and they were walking down the high street, and he saw a girl across the street. And then he was like, oh, this girl, she's, she looks good, she's attractive. So then he said to his friend, oh, what do you think? So he assumed that she was giving him the eye, like, oh yeah, she wants him to come talk to him. So then they decided to no, sorry, what was it? She crossed the road and then went into a restaurant. So he was like, you know what, I need to get her number, such and such. So him and his friend crossed the road and followed her into the restaurant. But then when she got in there, she was already meeting somebody in there and having lunch. So him and his friend sat by a bar, ordered like £20 smoothies, and I think he was able to talk to her, but it just didn't go anywhere. And it was just so hilarious to me. So I just found that hilarious. So when I
Yeah.
decided to start writing content and making my own content, I remembered that story, so I just wrote it
Yeah.
into a script. And he's an
Yeah.
actor, so I was like, do you want to do this? I then got Samuel, who plays Nate, and he's just a naturally funny guy, and I just wanted
Yeah.
to do a sketch, and then did the sketch. And then once I put it out on my YouTube channel, the reaction was crazy. Loads of people were
Yeah.
saying to the actors or myself that they wanted to see part two. So I was like,
Yeah.
cool, okay, let's do a series then. And it just
Yeah.
kind of fell into that. So that's one thing. I think it's good advice to say that don't put so much pressure on trying to find the most
Mm.
perfect product of a film or a series or
Yeah.
whatever. Look, yours was by accident, mine was by accident, that just happened. And look, so totally
Yeah.
get
It's
that,
like,
totally get that.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So what's next for you? What's coming up next? I know we're in COVID, but without COVID,
Yeah.
what's next for you?
Yeah, so I've been using this time to just write. And so I'm working on a short film at the moment. Um, yeah, because the How We Met series had to take a breather because of, the pandemic and everything. So yeah, and just using this time to just improve my craft. I really enjoy learning about writing and getting better at it. Reading lots of scripts, and yeah, just educating myself. So when it is time to go back out there, yeah, I'm ready. So I'm
Good,
enjoying in this.
good. I did the same thing last year. I did so much studying. Like I bought a writer's book. I read Save the
Mm,
Cap. Have you heard of that writing book?
no, I haven't.
Definitely check that out. That's like the
Yeah,
writer's manual or Bible. Like everyone
yeah,
always recommends that. Really, really good book. I
yeah,
started to read books on producing, budgeting, branding, just really freshen up my skills, because you're always
Mhm.
going to learn and want to know new things.
Yeah.
So that has really been good. So now I'm just like doing as much pre-production. So then when it comes to shoot, I'm like, yeah, cool, I can run out and do
Mm.
it. So yeah. So where can people find you? Like, what's your social media or your YouTube handle? Like, where can people find you?
Yeah, so YouTube, I have a channel called Yellow Heart Entertainment, and you can find my web series on there, How We Met. And on socials, I'm at Yellow Laurie, mainly on Instagram.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been great interviewing you and hearing some of your backstory. Hope you guys enjoyed
Thank
listening.
you.
Please stay tuned for new episodes coming soon. Follow me on social media at Kashif Booth or the Kashif Booth podcast. Thank you again, Laurie, and see you guys soon.
Thank you. And can I just say, Kashif, um, yeah, during this pandemic, like you have been an inspiration. I know you don't know that, but but just when I see like you put stuff out on socials, you know, when you're feeling down and you're just feeling like, you know, can't do anything right now, it's just you're quite motivating to see like Kashif is out there grinding and just doing his thing,
Thank
and
you.
it's very inspirational to see. So I want to thank you for just, you know, being supportive, you know, to us little people, and also being an inspiration. And I just hope you continue to, you know, do your thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know what? I try my best. Definitely. But that's great to hear. You know, I just feel like I always want to give other people a platform to showcase their work. You know, there's so many talented filmmakers I see, and sometimes I see some platforms who are supposed to support us, but I always see the same faces all the time. And so there's so many of us. So yeah, that's why I wanted to create this podcast, to really just highlight so many people who have great content and more to come. So thank you again for joining me. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you guys for
Thanks for
listening.
having me.
Bye.